don't mirror.
All right, we're live as can be right now. Live as
live?
Jorge and Carnival.
I like that home
Dude.
gym behind Chandler.
Dude, I'm getting that pumping right now, dog.
That ain't his though. That's the problem.
That ain't mine. I'm at my friend's house.
Ah,
That's why I'm out in the garage, dude. I got shunned from the house. I'm actually sleeping out here. I'm just kidding.
Will sees a beautiful guy with the hat backwards right now.
Got that flow.
God damn, you got the flow going through.
I had
God
to turn the camera
bless.
because the house ain't set up. So
Dude.
it's just like laundry right now.
Are-
Are you guys in the
How-
same room?
No.
I'm in the living room.
Dude, did
God,
y'all put
man,
y'all's beds in the same room again?
No, but I did get a king just for you, Chandler. So when you come over, you can see.
Let's
Hey,
go.
that's
dude.
nice.
Let's go. That's what I like to hear right there. That's my boy.
You're gonna share that, man.
Yeah,
Gunner
I
said,
can't
"Let's
wait.
go."
I'm gonna definitely be sleeping in Jared's bed though when I come to the meetup next week on the 21st.
yeah. Don't
All
sleep.
right, boys,
on
let's go. Everyone go one by
Yeah,
one
let's
here.
get this thing.
I'm on a
So-
strict schedule. I got a pack still at 12:02 a.m. I'm gonna be freaking dying tonight.
You guys gotta fly out from dang Europe. So
So let's go
All right.
first. Let's start with Hey, we got Big Eddie on here. Money talk with the boys. I like that.
that's right. That's right. So Jorge,
All right.
introduce
Yeah, go
yourself, big dog.
Where are you from? What do you do? Obviously, I mean it's kind of self-explanatory since that's the schedule or the title. But go ahead, give us one fun fact too about you.
all right. Well, my name is Jorge. I'm from Bolivia, La Paz, Bolivia. Damn, this whole last year has been a whole learning process. I was selling insurance before, but I mean, hey, I love this working with these guys. Especially Jared, Stelly, they're the ones who taught me everything, and
Shoot.
Sure.
I'm like,
That's right.
everything I do, I pretty much copy their style, bite a little bit, something from Stelly, from Jared, even Gino, and
Sometimes Gino.
hey, sometimes it's working. It's working,
That's right. That's right. So
Hell yeah.
Jorge, what's one thing you like to do for fun?
I like hitting the gym, playing soccer. I'm one of those active people.
That's right. Weren't you like a pro soccer player or something?
What's up?
Weren't you like a pro soccer player?
Semi.
Semi
For
pro.
Northern
Semi-pro,
Virginia Royals. Yeah, right after
Northern
high
Virginia
school.
Royals. Dang.
Yeah.
I like that.
Them up. Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
All right.
All right,
Who we got
Stelly.
next? All right.
I'll go next.
Your pink shirt.
My name's Adam, but nobody calls me Adam. Everybody calls me Stelly. Originally from McDonough, Georgia. Then
McDonald.
went to college up at Kennesaw State, Kennesaw, which is where I lived for about 6 years until literally 3 days ago when me and Jared just moved down here to Pensacola. So we're in the new house right now. That's why I got a mess in the back. We're still getting unpacked. But yeah, that's that. I guess fun fact about me would be, I don't know. I guess fun fact that you could relate to this is that naturally, I think I'm the worst natural salesman you'll ever meet. Zero sales skills in my blood, but just kind of goes to prove through Steve's method, Gino's method, that anybody can be taught and become a good salesman. And then outside of work, I guess, just probably why we moved down here to Florida. Love the sunshine, love the outdoors, love the beach, love hanging out with the boys, having a good time. So, yeah, I guess that'd be.
That's right. Stelly, I just want to say one thing, dude. Since you've been running, you look like you've lost some weight. So I'm proud of
Oh,
you.
thanks, Chandler.
They usually go hand in hand.
It's been
I
whooping
know,
my
I do.
tail. No doubt about it.
Hopefully
right.
that happens.
That's right. Stelly's gonna run a 50 miler with me one day. Stelly and Jared are.
One day.
Yeah, Stelly might get pushed on a hospital bed for 50 miles. That's the only place he's gonna be.
I'm getting a wheelchair.
All right, Jared, you introduce yourself.
Sure. My name's Jared. I am originally from Rabun County.
Atlanta,
Joe.
Georgia.
I would assume most people watching don't know where Rabun County is, but it's the northeast part of Georgia. And then, much like Stelly, I went to Kennesaw State. I'm about to graduate in a month. Finally, 5 years later, but
Let's go.
Counts.
getting it
Sure, it's
done.
about 6 years now.
No, fall 2017 to Summer
Okay, all right,
2022. 5
He
years.
also got first in Navy boot camp.
Okay,
exactly.
Number one.
He's
that is true.
number one.
That is true. I've enjoyed. I guess I've kind of been the first acquisition manager trained by Gino, learning the process, the steps the whole way. Um, and then I enjoy getting to teach it and have Stelly and Jorge on board with me, and we all get to learn and grow together every day. Outside of work, much like Stelly, I like going outdoors and working out and going to the beach. But my favorite thing to do, cut grass.
I like that.
Hell yeah.
Cut
I
the
love
grass.
it.
Isn't that your dream job, Jared? Just
It
to have like
keeps-
a 10-acre field just to cut it?
Yeah,
every day?
I know that's Paco. Well.
Yeah.
That's got to be.
It
We got a
keeps-
couple
All right.
questions here. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's go
Okay.
in over here. So we got Gunner, we got my boy Eddie here, you got La Paz here, my boy Warner
Represent.
supporting La Paz. He's from Bolivia. I know his family is. What about this
Yeah.
question for you, Carlos? Or
Am I a Madrid or Barca fan? I like Madrid.
okay, there's your answer.
Is that Ronaldo?
That was Ronaldo 4 years
It
ago.
wa- yeah, but I mean, it's like the main team out of
That's the main
Spain.
team.
You got Fransky saying go Owls, and then
Go Owls.
Eddie's loving that. That ain't Atlanta. That's what we mess with him, Eddie, because he says he's a country boy. We tell him he's from Atlanta.
Every single time he introduces himself, I'm not from Atlanta.
That's true.
So, all right, boys, let's get into it here. So, I'm gonna go around. I would say the biggest thing, and everyone watching this, excuse me, please share it with other people. But it's gonna be a lot of question and answer based. I think the boys, and I know the boys are responsible for at least 52 contracts this year so far.
57.
57.
Oh, 57. Fuck me. 57 contracts so far this year. So it's all from these three. So if you guys got your questions, you want to have, anything, let's go into them. We got a full book here, 42 minutes, 45 seconds. Let's get it. And maybe let's start off, boys, and saying your number one hardest thing right now in the AM, in your AM role. What's the hardest thing right now? Maybe you're not that you can't do it and that it's preventing you, but maybe it's giving you some hiccups. You guys just go as you see.
If
All
not
right.
that,
I know right off the bat, mine is the comping.
Gotcha.
Comping. Yeah, trying to find a house that looks the most similar to ours. Also, trying to take into the whole equation. The majority of the sellers lie, so I mean that sometimes messes up. Like when we're trying to close. Everybody tells you, "Oh, my house is beautiful. My house. I see my neighbor sold their house for like $250." So yeah, I want something around that value. But I mean, once we send our people out there, there's like holes on the roof and things like that. So
All right, so those are your two. What else? What do you got, Stelly?
Probably mine. I'd say the hardest thing, if I was gonna, tell somebody coming into it from the jump, probably be live transfers. Just kind of the whole process of it. So anyone that doesn't know our process, we started this thing, live transfers, where basically if a lead manager gets a hold of a hot lead and it's worth an appointment and they push it to an appointment, they before they set it up, they try to live transfer over to us. So they come in our acquisition manager room on Discord, and they'll basically say, "Hey, I got a live transfer. Who can take it?" And on the spot, you say, "I can take it." And 10 seconds later, you're talking to the person on the phone on a phone appointment, and you're carrying out the script. You're setting expectations. You're hitting motivation. You're doing everything you can, all the while you're comping at the same time. So you got Zillow up, MLS up, everything up you can get. Trying to carry on a conversation, stay fluid, sound natural, hit your points, check all the boxes, all while coming up with the most accurate number you can, coming up with that MAO, all of that. So I'd say that's probably the hardest, just because of the it's a big balancing act, huge multitasking kind of thing you got to deal with. So I'd say that'd be the hardest thing.
All right. And the reason I'm bringing this up again, I want you guys listening that let us know if that's the same thing you're dealing with. these are similar things, so we can go into detail on how to solve these. So keep going, Jared.
I would say the hardest thing is really trying to, you got that 30% of sellers that, their motivation's there, their price is there, anyone can lock them up, right? It's that 70% that maybe the motivation isn't quite there yet. It's a little bit discounted, enough to be able to push to an appointment, but
Mm-hmm.
how do you really, we have all the questions and stuff, but and we know what to do. It's just sometimes that obviously that's what separates the good from the great, but really trying to dig out as much as you can, even if it's not there, and try and get that deeper discount from a seller when the motivation seemingly isn't there up front. It's just continuing to dig and ask the uncomfortable questions that are very uncomfortable, um, to try and pull out more motivation and get a deeper discount.
Gotcha. So digging deeper in pain and getting those deeper discounts. All right, so we already have KT on here, and and the reason I'm bringing this up again, I want people listening, I want to see if they have the same thing here, and so we can hone in and hit it. So, comping is most definitely my growth area, and I think I tell people this all the time. I'll let everyone else speak too. Is I'd say the hardest thing in this business, especially to teach, but more importantly, the hardest thing in this business is comping, because everyone can say something else about the properties. There's no definitive answer to it. You can't solve an equation to find what a property's value is. It's all based on opinion. So I definitely will agree, and I definitely think from the end of time, company is going to be one of the hardest things to do in the sales process for sure. Again, just because it's not definitive. My big tips, Jorge already knows. At the end of the day, what we're doing in our business now is different what we did before, and a lot of other wholesalers is we're trying to find as is value homes. More importantly than ARV homes, homes that are after repair value, homes that are fixed up. Because what we're doing with our MAOs, max allowable offer calculator, is we're basing it hopefully most of the time on as is home values, and so it's harder, to completely understand and see what these other homes are selling for as is. And if you obviously still have access, like Jorge does, to the MLS, that helps a lot. The multiple listing service with all the realtors I've access to, that's a big, powerful thing there. But if you just have Zillow access, it could be hard. So KT, just keep practicing, keep training on it. It's just going to happen with reps. And that's all we can say about that. Like I said, there's no definitive answer on it, but we do look for 6 months sold within half a mile at the maximum right now, at first, and yeah, on the MLS and around our area. So for comps, what else you boys got to say about that?
I would say just trust your gut. I mean, not the comps. If the comps are there and you're just kind of tossing it up like, oh, is it worth this or is it worth this? Just trust your gut and go for it. And if there are no comps that are similar to that property, well, then you're just going to have to use properties that have sold that are different types.
Mm-hmm.
You might be having to use a 2-story brick, and your property is a single story siding ranch. So you're just going to have to kind of know the area and understand that it's going to be worth less, obviously, but just trust your gut on it.
Yeah, I think that's what sets or what can set apart the good from the great, is developing your own comping skills over time. You can anybody can go on YouTube and watch a video on how to wholesale, and the first thing you're going to do is you're going to look at the Zestimate, right? That's what everybody does. You look at the Zestimate, and let's say the Zestimate's 300, and the seller says, "I want 290." Then you don't know what you're doing, or at the beginning you're going to think that's a killer deal, until you get into the game and you start locking them up and you see what they actually are selling for, and you learn how to comp, and you realize that the Zestimate is garbage. So really, developing your own skills over time and
Mm-hmm.
being confident. And it's kind of hard, but it's kind of hard to develop. But that's something we do really well at Ferocity. Is we all trust each other, where we'll say, hey, this is the property. The Zestimate is 400, right? And we'll all say, well, what do you think it's worth? Well, I think it's worth 375. And then everyone at Ferocity, from the top Gino to the very bottom, everybody's going to trust what Jared thinks it's worth or what Jorge thinks it's worth way more than this estimate. So just building that up over time, getting those skills up, building trust in yourself to confidently make those calls is kind of what separates the good from the great.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, like what Gino hit on, the way you have to develop your offers is like who's buying the property, because they determine what it's worth. So if you're only selling to buy and hold investors, you probably want to find out how they underwrite their deals and then build your spread into that. And then if you're selling to flippers, then you're going to do it different. But for us, like we sell in MLS, so we're just selling it. What is it worth? And we put our spread in with all fees and stuff. So you just got to take back from who's actually your consumer, and then you can put your spread in, build your spread into that. So
exactly. So I want to show one more thing too before we get any further. And guys, you're watching this. We want you guys to have as many questions as possible. It's a Q&A next 45 minutes. We're going to be having our AMs here again. They closed over 57 deals this year so far.
57 in 102 days. I posted it on my story today. So
yes, sir.
They don't get contracts after Tuesday, but they do really good between Monday and Tuesday.
Your nose is growing.
I'm just kidding. It's an inside joke between all of us.
But check out this right here too, just to give you guys some more credit. The last 90 days. And this Ryan contract is actually Jorge's. I looked it up. So we got 17 with Adam, 17 with Jorge. Jared's one behind him at 16 in the last 90 days. So, again, that's not the full year. I mean, it's a little bit over 90 days. But just to show you guys some numbers here.
17, 17, 17. What is that?
No, 17, 16, 17.
How many is that? 34?
That's 34.
That's 40. 50. It's 50. 50 in 90 days. Pretty damn good.
50 and 90 in the last 90 days. So just to show you guys here, this is our Salesforce, this is our CRM. This is where it keeps account of all of our stuff. And so you guys can kind of get that idea of what they're doing. What's 16 for 92? So look at Stelly. Look at this right here with Stelly. I don't know if he didn't – some of these are his, but Stelly's closing at what, a 16 over 68, a 24% rate.
17 over 68.
Sorry, I did 16. 25%.
So that's another topic I think we should touch on. So what was you guys, of course, when you first start, you're not going to be closing at 25% of your offers. You're going to turn into contracts. Initially, like it's like 10%, right, of the offers. So like 1 in 10, you give 10 offers, you make 1 contract. Now you give 4 offers, you get 1 contract. What do you think were some of the things that really helped you bridge that gap to go from making 10 offers and getting a contract to making 4 offers and getting a contract now, like where you guys are at?
Well, I would say it definitely starts with Jordan and the lead management department, pushing better appointments, qualifying better, disqualifying better, for sure. I think that's where it starts, in my opinion.
Yeah. So what makes a better appointment? Like what's something they do? Just go ahead, Stelly.
So I guess that's a very, very broad question. What made you lock up more now as opposed to when you started? And like Jared hit on it really, there's a lot of things. I think obviously as Ferocity, we've grown so much from marketing to lead managers then to us. But to answer the question in an acquisition specific sort of way, I think one thing that I've noticed recently, or at least in the last couple of months, as opposed to when I first started. When you first start, not externally, not on your calls, but in your mind and internally, you're not desperate, but you really want a deal, and you're like killing yourself to get this deal. And every call you make, you're not desperate on the call, but in your mind, you're like, I gotta get this deal. I gotta get this deal. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try that. And sometimes that might cloud your judgment, and that might lower your negotiating skills, because you might miss a sign here where I could have hit motivation here and got a bigger discount. Or, if somebody's giving you an inch when you could really take a mile, and instead of taking that mile, you just settle with an inch, right? So when I first started, if somebody, let's say our MAO is 290, and somebody says, we offer 260, and they wanted 300 originally. And they say, you know what, I can't take 260, but I'll do 290. Somebody new to the game might be like, oh, 290, that's my MAO. Okay, awesome, let's do it. Let's do 290, let's lock it up. And they'll lock it up and they'll get the deal done. But, now just having that confidence and not having that feeling of, oh man, I need to get this. I need to prove myself. I need to, show everybody I can lock it up. Just having that confidence that you can do it. And, now you kind of stay strong to your numbers. And I can't tell you how many deals that, you have the rapport so deep and the motivation so deep where you give somebody an offer and they're like, no, I'd really just rather have this. And it's $5 grand more, 10 grand more. And, a rookie would be like, okay, let's do it. But now I've gotten to the point where it's just like, okay, well, sorry, we're probably not going to be your best fit. And they come crawling back every time and you lock them up. And it's just, having that confidence in yourself and not having that feeling of desperation. Like, I need to lock this deal up. I need to get this done.
Yeah, I think that's big.
Yeah, definitely confidence.
I like that. Yeah, you walk into every opportunity like it's an easy lockup. Not an easy lockup, but you know what I mean. So Jorge, what about for you, bro?
One thing for me is talking less. When I first started out, I remember I would read the company website, what we do, the whole procedure, and I would try to sell it. When I would talk to somebody, I would tell them, this is what we can do. This is what we do, blah, blah, blah. But, Gino, you could tell everybody, I just sounded so salesy. Like I had a product I was trying to sell, but now like I just try to listen. Everybody has, something going on. So, you try to get an idea of what they're going through. Some people work a lot, so they really can't go on the route of listening on the market. So you just got to pay attention to what they're saying and then making your move rather than making your move before they tell you what they have going on.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, that's a big thing. I mean, we talk about that in the Sandler training, right? The book about how, as a salesman, or as a sales guy, we don't want to be the ones doing the talking. We want the sellers to be doing the talking, and we just ask the questions, right? Because the more we can get out of the sellers, the more we can, achieve by allowing them to spit more of their motivation, more of their pain, or whatever it may be out, the better chance we have at bigger discounts, and the better chance we have at allowing them to believe they're controlling that conversation. And by them feeling they control that conversation, their guard's completely down. And no longer are we salespeople, we're just people talking with them. And that's how we can really expose the true pain, motivation, and the true price from the sellers too.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree 100%.
I like it. Jared, you got anything you want to add before we go to the next question?
No, I mean they hit all the good parts.
All right. So which marketing channels do you guys see have the best leads to speak with? Do you feel you have better leverage deal sizes with inbound leads versus outbound, text and cold call, etc.? So I guess I'll let you guys answer this. So everyone, I guess I'll just clarify this. So every appointment should be the same quality no matter what the lead source is. Sure, there might be some other skeptical things, like if it's an SMS lead versus a TV lead, the level of credibility might be a little bit different on the appointment call. But that's where lead management really steps in. Lead managers should be establishing a lot of that credibility to where when it gets served up to Jared, to Jorge, to Stelly, they are already the credible people, and we are a credible company, and we can do the job, and we're no longer a scam at this point. I mean, I don't know if that's something that you're kind of referring to with what Jordan and them have done, Jared, like the building the credibility up to where you get an SMS lead versus a cold call lead or versus the TV lead. I don't know if any of that's been changed or if that's even accurate for what you were kind of speaking about.
I'll be 100% honest. I do not look at what type of lead it is. I don't go into the appointment and scroll down and see where did it come from. I just start confident and read the notes and read the motivation. Because like you said, every appointment should be the same quality no matter what. For me, at least. I don't know about what y'all two do, but that's how I am.
Yeah, I don't really notice. I mean, motivation's motivation. I don't really think there's, reading the question, which marketing channel you guys see have the best leads to speak with. The best lead to speak with is somebody that wants to sell. So whether that's an easy sell lead or SMS cold call, I think your question may be referring more to, what kind of spreads, do we get bigger spreads talking with different kind of marketing channels? And that might be a question more for marketing. But, like Jared said, we treat every appointment, we treat the exact same. what kind of lead they came in as doesn't really matter to us.
Yeah. And basically with that is like an SMS lead is going to close from an appointment to a contract at the same rate as a TV lead will, even though you spend more money on the TV lead. On the appointment setting side, so like when you get the lead in, if you talk to a TV lead, you assume they're going to sell their house for a discount until they don't. With an SMS lead, you're kind of more skeptical until they prove they have motivation, right? So you just assume TV leads and PPC leads have motivation. SMS is more so of like you're not quite sure because there's so many more.
Kish is the one that asked this question, and so
okay,
Kish,
what's up, Kish?
I mean, for sure, as a lead manager, they're gonna have a different answer to this because they're talking to more leads, right? As the AM, there's no difference for them because they're not looking at it. But for a lead manager, of course, the inbound lead's going to be a hotter lead. It's going to be a lead contract's going to be a lot lower.
But the deal size should be the same. It's pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same. So hopefully that answers that one, Kish.
But yeah, as an LM for sure.
All right, Eddie, can we talk mental mindset for a second? As acquisitions, how do you guys feel with staying positive or riding through like slumps?
It's funny. I was actually talking to Jared about this the other day. Every time I've had a slump, our personal goals are 2 contracts a week. Every time I've had a slump where I go goose egg, where I don't get one in a week, or I go goose egg, and then the next week I only get one. Every time I come out of that slump, I've had like my biggest weeks. So I think it's really just staying true to, knowing that the process will work as long as you work. We kind of, that's the good thing about this line of business. And then Ferocity is, we determine our own success. As it's pretty easy to stay motivated and stay positive because we know if we wake up and we get on the phones and we start dialing, that good things are going to happen. And we were just joking that Jared was going through a slump. He just had a string of bad appointments that didn't go his way, or the sellers weren't looking to sell for the price we needed to be at. And we were just reminiscing on every time we go in a slump, all we need is one. We get one deal, and then the roller coaster takes off, and then we go on a crazy streak. So I think the easy way to stay positive is just proof of concept. We've all done it. We've seen the highs. We've seen the lows. Just stay true to ourselves. Keep grinding. And where else would you rather be than right here?
That's what I like to hear right there.
Yeah. Or you want to go? Or
yeah, I would say just not caring what the seller says. Worst thing that can happen, you're going to be where you're at already. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you can only win. So the more calls you take, the better chances you have of locking up a deal. So, I mean, that was the main thing for me. At first, I just didn't have that confidence. I didn't feel too confident going into the calls. But then just one day I was just like, fuck it. And everything just kind of worked out.
I mean, I would say, as far as when you're going through slumps, we're training every day. We're meeting every day. We're reviewing every day. As long as we know we're, sticking to the fundamentals, it's just part of life. It's just rolling with the punches, just keep trucking along, keep doing what you're doing. It's, it's definitely not always easy to stay positive. But as long as you just keep in mind that, we know what we're doing. We have a good process. We have a, good sales training, good sales skills. Just keep doing what you're doing, and you'll eventually ride it out.
Yeah. One thing I forgot to say, Jerry, are you done? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was gonna say one thing. I listened to an interview from Tom Brady's dad. I don't know if anyone else listened to it, but he said one thing that like really stuck with me. He said, "Tough times don't last; tough people do." So I kind of like to keep that mindset. A little, corny as it may be.
Yeah. One thing that's helped me is thinking of the alternative. So hopefully everyone watching this, if you're in this, level up group or you're interested in real estate, then hopefully everyone's of the same mindset that you want to get into real estate, make a better life for yourself, get out of the rat race, that kind of thing. So one thing that helps me a lot is, even if I'm having a bad week, even if I'm striking out, I can kind of put the headset down, take a step back and look and think about what's my alternative. Working for somebody else for a 9 to 5 till I'm 65, then hopefully I have enough money saved up to retire. no, that's not a life any of us want. That's why we're all here. So, think of the alternative, think of where we're at, think of how much worse it could be, and how great we really do have it.
That's a good perspective right there.
Perspective matters.
I like it.
Do y'all ever look back and see like how you're doing, like when you were crushing it, and kind of like compare, like, are you doing anything in the actual call that you were doing? Maybe you like picked up a bad habit, or maybe you went too far on the dichotomy of like one, like a scale of like pushing too hard or asking too many weird questions, or I don't know, losing focus. You guys ever do that?
Honestly, no. I don't.
I mean, you pick up tips and tricks along the way, but I don't necessarily think we do that. No.
Yeah.
I was just
I think it would be. I think it's like a concept of that is like beneficial for, maybe someone starting out who had like a good hot streak and they went down. Maybe they learned something wrong, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just too confident, confident enough in myself that I know what I'm doing every single time. Of course, mistakes happen, and we listen to those in call reviews. But
yeah, so I mean, you are listening to your calls though, so you kind of do have a good pulse on what you're like. If you kind of need to recalibrate or not. So I mean, you guys technically, I guess, are doing it, just not the same way I said, which makes complete sense. So, all right, cool. I like that. And the reason why I asked too is like because I remember like whenever I would wrestle. And let's say I would like kind of like a move when it worked for me, then I would like have to go back and watch my film and recalibrate. So I was like, I didn't know.
The freshman 1A.
Yeah. He's a sophomore. Speaking of sales skills, y'all ever read Alex Murray's $100 million offers? Dude, let's go, KT. You're on the train. I'm thinking about going. That would be my next read. Me personally, I've never read it, but I've listened to every single piece of media out there where Alex Murray talks about it. So like, I pretty much understand a lot of it. But I mean, I would need to read it.
Yeah.
I need to read it. But
Chandler's going to read it.
If you haven't read Sandler's sales training or how to teach a kid to ride a bike at a seminar,
teach a kid.
Can't teach, sorry. Then I would highly recommend that. That's going to directly help you immediately in that whole segment.
Yeah, for sales skills specifically.
Sales skills clearly, you can't teach a kid to ride a bike at a seminar. It's literally like you can take the concepts in that book and basically related to every single sales process we have at Frosty. So I was going to say the same thing.
And because the $100 million offers is not about sales, it's about creating a great product and having a great frame where you position your product and you make it sound like really amazing. So it's less about sales, and it's more about how you position your actual product and your offer. Like, what are you offering to people? Not actual technique of negotiations or anything like that. So, which is kind of more, I would even argue, it's kind of marketing. In a way. So here's a question. I don't know who wrote this one. It says Facebook user on my side. Kish again. At what point do you guys place a seller into a different MAO category? I know you mentioned you have different MAOs for different strategies, retail, novation, wholesale, etc.
So this is actually something that we've changed since we were last in the mentorship, Kish, and maybe where I referenced it or maybe earlier videos. You guys want to explain that, Jared? Answer his question.
Sure. Yeah. So I mean, we have our basically our novation MAO is what we call it, but we're not really novating. That's just our MAO that if we're going to list it on the market and get full access, that's the most we can pay. We're going to start off a little bit lower. We're going to start off at maybe like a regular wholesale MAO and, kind of use that to leverage. And if they want a higher price, well, maybe we can come up, but we'll need more access. So we start off lower at that wholesale MAO. If it doesn't work, come up a little bit. If they want us to come up, even more, then we're just gonna, leverage. Yeah, we can come up, a little bit. We just need more access.
Exactly. So like what Jared's saying is, now Kish, we really have just one number. And sometimes two, but as long as we're getting access to the property, we don't classify it as an novation MAO or retail MAO or wholesale MAO. It's just one MAO now, to keep things simple. Like our one MAO is just basing off that we get access to the property, which is how we negotiate, like Jared says. I mean, I would say, boys, what do you say? Out of the times that we ask for extra access from a seller, I mean, what is it, 90% of the time, 80% of the time, they don't say anything about it. They say it's fine. Yeah. When you ask for access and position that offer like that,
right?
What do you think?
Yeah.
So, but there is one other MAO we technically do have. That's if the seller won't give us access, and basically what that is, Kish, is it's just the same way we got our MAO the first time, as if we were getting access, minus a set formula that I have, and it's just like
It's about like 9% discount is what it
whatever.
works out to be.
They won't give us
9% of the
access.
property value. Yeah.
Yeah, the way I play it is, they always give our lead managers a number they want.
Mhm.
So when I go into the appointment, I'll hit them off with like 30,000 below
Yeah,
that
that's what I
number,
want to hear. Yeah, 30,000 is what I want to hear. Yeah,
right? And the most common response, they'll be like, "Nah, I'm not gonna give away my house." So that's when you hit
exactly.
them off. Okay, well, there is another way we can do. We can help you out, but like you always said it. They always have to give up something for us to come up on the price.
Exactly.
And in this case, it'd be access on the property.
You're slicker now, shit,
I was
son.
I was literally just about to, I was
I know, I
literally just
started
about to say,
laughing too.
Jorge, you got that down.
All those little moanings. I don't know.
All right. All right, he's gonna check it out.
Here,
Are you
Gabby
fellas
moaning.
having anyone go out to the properties when the seller isn't? Sorry, I'm just laughing at what you. Are you fellas having anyone go out to the properties when the seller isn't savvy or feels sketched out that you don't go and see it? And like, who goes out if we do? So
Yeah, I mean, we
Sure.
try to and do everything, virtually if we can. If we can agree on a price over the phone and they don't have an email, then either myself or Stelly will go out, or we can try and send, or one of our, um,
local
what's the word I'm looking for?
Runners.
lead managers,
Yeah,
local guys.
Parsa. I didn't want to
Project
call 'em- I didn't.
managers,
Yeah,
lead-
project managers. That's the word I was looking for. Send one of them out there so we can stay dialing. Um, sometimes people feel I wouldn't say sketched out, but we do get that objection of, oh, how do you even know, you've never seen it? And then you just have to be able to overcome that objection.
which
I'd
would
say
be
that's
what?
it's easier to overcome the sketched out one than it is the internet savvy. Internet savvy, if you got an older individual that just doesn't know how technology works, it's
Like
going to be
Edward.
harder for them to figure out how DocuSign is than it is going to be to overcome an objection. Because if somebody doesn't want you, they're like, "How are you going to buy my house without seeing it in person?" We've all overcome that rebuttal a million times. That's really not a hard one to do. So
Let's hear
yeah,
it.
it's
What is how
okay.
do you handle it?
I guess a lot of times we'll say, "Well, how are you going to come up with a number, or how are you going to give me an offer on this house? And you've never even seen it." And then we would just say something along the lines of like, "Well, my finance guys are really the ones that come up with that number. They've checked out the property, they've looked at other properties in the area, and based on all the information you've given us, they feel as if that information, based off of what we can see here from public record, county websites, we feel comfortable that this number right here is a good number for our business to move forward with. Now, after we do get this agreement in place, we are going to come out there. We are going to have access to the property just to make sure that the property is exactly how you explained it to us. But Mr. Seller, if everything you've said is accurate, then this we're confident in this number. We've never had any hiccups before, and I don't expect us to this time. And then usually they're like, "Oh, okay, so you are going to come out here." Like, yeah, we'll still come out there. We just got to get this agreement in place first before we do anything. And then I think 10 times out of 10, they're still okay with it. The only times I've ever had to go out in person to lock one up is the tech savvy one. They literally do not know how to open DocuSign, or they don't have an email, like that kind of thing.
Even Jorge did it, and Jorge is in Bolivia. What'd you do, Jorge, when you had to do that one time?
I sent out one of our lead managers, and once he got to the house, he called me, and we went over the contract.
I didn't even know that happened. Who did that happen for?
That was in Monroe.
Oh, was that Gunner went out there?
Yeah,
That was
Gunnar actually helped me out a few times.
I like that.
Yeah, I was
There
going
you
to
go.
say, as far as that objection, really it's just two simple things. Number one, you just pretty much tell them why. Look, this is why our lead managers bombarded you with questions. Of course, you're not going to say that, but this is why they asked you all the questions about the condition. So our finance guys hype your finance guys up so they can really have a better understanding of the property. This is what they do for a living. They underwrite properties all day long, every day of the week. This is, and then, make sure that they know they are the subject matter expert. This is what we do. And usually, they're
Yeah.
comfortable with it.
Yeah. We don't got to get too deep with it, but I mean, you got to think it goes back to, Steve training, and then the whole dichotomy comes from that same book, Can't Teach a Kid to Ride a Bike. It's like if they express concern about how are you going to offer me this number without seeing it, their actual deep-seated concern is not, oh, how is this guy coming up with this number without seeing it? Their actual concern is, how is this person going to pay me this amount of money for my house?
Yeah, they
How
don't
can
trust
they
you.
guarantee I will actually get that money? They don't trust you. They don't believe in you. You don't have a rapport. You don't have a relationship. So you got to cut through those and get to the real problem, which is not, their real worry is just, how are you going to make sure you can guarantee them that money? So
Exactly.
it's always deeper than surface level most of the time.
Yeah, for sure. I like it. All right. What's your sales training like? Big Devin, my man. What's your sales training like? Trying to train and onboard AM as well as would love some tips.
So yeah, let's start out. What does your guys' sales training look like now? Right now, and you guys are already onboarded, obviously. But what does it look like now for you guys weekly?
Maybe we should start to the onboarding first and then go to training.
Jared wrote the script.
Oh, that's what you want to do.
All right. Well, onboarding, I pretty much just wrote. I'm almost done writing the entire new onboarding process with videos of. Let me just pull it up real quick.
You can share your screen if you want.
So what does the sales training look like?
I'll pull this up real quick.
Because that's the big thing he's asking for, which is why I'm talking about now.
Sales training, okay. I'll go sales training then. Screw it. So
Yeah,
Monday through Friday in the morning, we have our AM sales huddle where we review our numbers, the previous day's numbers, calls, appointments completed, contracts, survey calls we completed. We'll talk about any issues we're having as far as like, hey, I'm having trouble getting a hold of this guy. He gave me this objection, then he ghosted me. So we're going to come up with a quick game plan of how we're going to tackle that. So then we'll comp really, if someone has any issues with comping, don't know what it's worth, got an appointment coming up, we'll handle that real quick. And then we're going to, usually hit a quick role play, pretty specified role play. We're not going to just go through the whole script. If there's something someone's having trouble with, we're going to nail that part.
That's 15 minutes too, right? So
yeah, 15 minutes for the first part, 15 minutes for the second part. And I'm
playing.
using my hands, and you can't see them because they're below the camera. But, oh shoot, my computer's about to die.
So for the role plays, are you guys just role playing like the script, or like are you doing like scenarios?
And again, guys, they're sorry, Chandler, but to let everyone know, this is every day. Monday, 10 or not Monday, every day in the morning from 10 to 10:30. 15 minutes reviewing numbers, getting over objections, getting over comping problems, and the next 15 minutes is specified role play on any difficulties. And then Chandler, ask your question now.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, when you guys role play, are you guys just role playing the script, or are there specific things you guys are targeting each day, each week, or is it just random? Like, how does that work?
Do a little bit of everything. So, if we don't have anything specific that day or any challenges, then we'll just do a normal basic role play, something we do every day. And then one thing we'll do is, if Jared says, oh, this guy yesterday gave me this unique objection we might not have heard before, we'll say, okay, let's role play that today. And then we'll spend 15 minutes role playing, go over that objection, what Jared said, what we could say next time. That way, if it comes up again, Jared will know what to say. And let's say, it comes up to Jorge for the first time ever. Well, Jorge heard it in a role play because Jared had already encountered it. So we'll do that. So it really changes every day. It's never the same thing. And then one day a week, we have it combined with all of the lead managers and acquisition managers. And we'll role play. We call it a live transfer role play. It's basically a process from beginning to end. From the very first time a lead manager claims a new lead, talks to him, qualifies him on the call, transfers it over to acquisition manager hops on, comps it, talks to them, goes through that offer call process. So we do that once a week. So yeah, very intense. Pretty much every day. We don't go a day without practicing. Basically, stay fresh.
I like it. And we got some people here that are just joining up. We got another 15 minutes left, guys. Just to let you know, these are our AMs, acquisition managers, our home buying specialists. We got Jorge, Stelly, and Jared here. And so far this year, they're at 57 deals in, what is it, 104 days or 102 days, right?
Yep.
So, guys, we got 15 minutes left here. Ask your questions. We're talking about sales training right now. You want to talk about that PM meeting now, boys?
Yeah. So Tuesday and Friday we'll have a PM huddle, and usually that we'll just listen to a good call, review a good call, 30 minutes, one or two, if we can fit in three there. Um, and then Monday afternoon we'll do an hour of training. I think now we changed it to where we're going to do comp training on Monday afternoon and kind of start role playing like a quick live transfer role play comp, you know. And Wednesday we join Steve's in the afternoon, and then Thursday we're going to start rewriting and not really relearning, um, but really just sharpening up our follow-up process, going through the process map and recreating all that. So we're going to start doing that every Thursday.
I like it. I like it. So Devin also said he's trying to onboard an AM as well. What specific, what's kind of the strategy for the onboarding? You don't have to go deep and dive into it, but what's kind of your strategy, Jared, to ramp these guys up?
I would say if you're training a new AM, honestly, do they need to know how to comp sufficiently? No, as long as you're there giving them the correct MAO. As long as they can navigate through the script and overcome objections, that'll be good to start off with. And then just kind of, I mean, you can throw them in the fire. I guess I was kind of thrown in the fire and just learn as we go. But
You don't want to do that.
No. So
Recordings, giving them recordings is. I remember when I started, I had zero sales experience ever, and I got, y'all just sent me a bunch of recordings. Hey, listen to these role plays, listen to these recordings. So I heard Jared do 100 offer calls before I ever made my first offer call. So just having those recordings and having, recorded role plays, recorded real calls, live calls, having them hear that way when they get on the phones, it's not a complete foreign process to them. They've heard it done 100 times, even though they haven't done it themselves. That helped me tremendously. So that might help somebody else starting new.
I'll say so I have for our onboarding an intro to acquisition video, just kind of introducing, Gino made that one, introducing what, this is all about, a video on tools, every tool that we use in acquisitions day to day, a video on the offer call script, and then attached recordings of actual live offer calls, a video of the contract call script, and then attached recordings to that, a video about motivation, digging deeper into that, a list of objections, a video going over that and how to overcome, certain ones, and a comp training video and a Salesforce navigation video.
Yeah. And basically the whole idea that Jared's hitting on right here is he's teaching them the fundamentals of how to be an acquisition manager. You're not trying to be a master, but you understand the fundamentals. So like the script, you got Jared run back through on the script. The what was the next one?
The offer call script, the contract call script, objections, motivation, tools, comping. So
and how to use Salesforce. Yeah. So you just got to teach them the core fundamentals of being in the role, and then the actual super deep stuff will be like through your ongoing training and like kind of what Stelly had talked about too, with all the calls and all that kind of stuff. So those are the main key things that you want to do for onboarding. Onboarding and training are different, or continued training are different. So let's go next right here. How many offers are AMs making per day?
What do we get?
How many appointments are you completing a day?
2 to 3 a day each.
Yeah, at least 2.
Yeah,
2 a day.
Got it. Who's reviewing the calls for quality control and how many calls?
Well, so we got Melanie Primera. We got just a VA doing it. She's starting back this week. And how many calls? Well, her goal is at least to grade every single offer call. So if that's the case, we're completing 25 appointments a week. So at least 25 of those calls a week, right? That's her main job. And now she also helped out with marketing and stuff. But that's for AMs only, not LMs.
Yep. Another thing too is like these guys listen to their calls every day, like or 2 days a week in the live training calls in the afternoons, Mondays and Friday, or Tuesdays and Fridays. So they listen to several calls, and they're also listening to their own calls on their own, or at least I know they used to. I don't know if y'all still do as much, but they listen to their own calls. And then Jared, I'm assuming you probably still listen to a lot of their calls. So
Maybe we listen to them together,
right? They're listening to their calls as well, just so they got self-improvement. JR said I'm in my mom's garage. I wish I was in my mom's garage. I miss my
garage
mommy.
don't have that stuff in it.
I know.
And a Ram Rebel right there.
I miss JR though. RIP. You gotta come back to Denver.
He's still alive?
No, I don't know why I said that. He's still alive. Does AM drop offers on live transfer, or is it second call setup to make sure they're able to sign and accepted?
Yes, on live transfer we give the offer.
Yep.
And why do you give an offer? Because
well, it's an appointment, so the reason that we do live transfer is to kind of, I guess, because maybe we were having trouble setting up appointments and then people ghosting them. This way, if we live transfer them directly from the lead manager, we don't have to worry about getting ghosted or anything. So
we also set expectations the second we take transfer. So if a transfer comes in, we tell them before we get into any negotiation, anything, we set the expectations. So we tell them, just like you were transferred over to me, your information was transferred over to our finance guys, and they're coming up with a number that your property qualified for. That's not true. We're comping it, right? We're comping it ourselves while we're on the phone. And then we tell them, if everything did look good and we agreed on price, the next step would be for us to send over a written agreement to your email. Do you think that's something you're in a position to do right now? And if they say, no, I can't do that right now, then you discuss it, talk about resetting the appointment, or, if that's nothing you can do about. But most of the time they'll be like, yeah, okay, I can do that, if it sounds good. And then that also, so right there, that kind of ensures that they'll be able to sign an offer if they do like it. And then that also, gives you that bargaining chip where if you give an offer and they don't like it, they say, oh, I just need to think about it. And you're like, oh, I'm sorry. At the beginning of the call, you said you'd be able to go over an agreement if you liked it. So, we're setting the expectations pretty hard. So,
yeah, exactly. So answer that question quick. Yes, we are dropping it right up. And
another reason, I thought you were gonna pivot off too quick.
Go ahead. Set up to make sure the seller's able to sign. No, exactly what Stelly and Jared were saying. We're setting, and the lead manager set the expectations already. That's why they transferred as a live transfer, because they already asked the seller, they're going to be able to give us a yes or no, and they said yes. And then, like Stelly says, they reconfirmed that in the beginning. So this person has already told us that they're able to sign an offer, accept it.
Yep.
And that's
it. Yep. And another thing from like a strategy point of view, if you're like, we're virtual, we don't ever go to the properties, right? Not ever, but 99.9% of the time we never go to the property until we get it under contract. The only thing we have over people who go to belly, like going in-person appointments, is we have speed. So if we can give them an offer in 30 minutes of them becoming a lead and then calling our TV commercial, then the odds of us getting that contract signed over someone who's going belly to belly, and it might be a day or two before they get out there. If we're really good and we use that as our strategy, then like we're going to get so many deals from people that they could have gotten otherwise, or that other people would have gotten because they were belly to belly, but we were just faster. So that's another thing too to keep in mind. So we got a couple minutes here, guys. We got 5 minutes left. So drop any last questions y'all got down below. But we got a couple announcements, and then Jorge, Stelly, Jared, think about the last things you guys want to leave the listeners with. And real quick to knock off, we have our meetup in Atlanta. I think it's West Midtown, the address, but the Eventbrite's in our bios and Instagram. But it got moved to the 21st. Due to some unforeseen circumstances. So the 21st is next Thursday. It's still at 7 p.m., still at the same venue. If you already applied, it just got moved to the 21st. So if not, and by applied, I mean registered. So if you haven't registered, go down. We'll drop the link. Yeah, free tickets. We have Darren Dammy coming out, or is it? I think that's how he says his last name.
Yeah,
But
Danny.
anyways, they did what $13.4 million last year in just Phoenix alone. So he's got his stuff pretty dialed in, and he's also like the best TV buyer for real estate. He's got one of the best companies that does that. So he knows marketing, he knows operations, he knows wholesale. He's a beast. So come out
So if you're
there
around
and
anywhere in the metro, I mean anywhere around Georgia, like Chandler's saying,
Tennessee, North Carolina,
we've had people come down from freaking Memphis, Tennessee,
Chattanooga, Memphis.
Chattanooga. Even we've had people like even Devin came up from North Carolina last time to see stuff be better. So
we have a couple people even flying in this time.
Exactly. So again, Darren's coming 13 million plus last year. One of the smartest business guys I think out of anyone we've known, and even our freaking mentors know. So make sure you guys stop by. And free tickets again. First 25 people, they get all you can drink for the first 25 people.
Dang, it's a shame Jared's not going to be getting that.
Yeah.
Good thing me and Stelly ain't going to be there.
I know. I'm sad. But all right, so boys, what do you guys want to leave the listeners with here? Who wants to go first?
I wanted to actually answer a question earlier. It's you got to be real careful picking your team, right? Because I mean, if you have people who are not motivated, it's just not going to work, right? But I mean, if you have somebody who really wants to get it done, they will find the way to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
So,
also, like Jorge, how would you feel if you had some lazy dude on the team? Like if Stelly was lazy as shit, how would you feel?
You had to pick up his slack.
Shit, more opportunities for me.
I
kind of wish he was a little more lazy.
That is a killer.
I like it. All right, Stelly, you want to go next?
No, I still haven't thought of what I want to say, to be honest.
All right. Jared.
I would say, I mean, even for anyone starting out or doing it, already been in the game for a couple of years, just never stop learning. Keep investing in learning and training. There's always something you can work on. I hate reading, so the good Lord gave us some audiobooks. So that's kind of what I'm into is audiobooks. I try and do one a month. Whether it's directly sales related, or just something, I guess, motivational, like David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me. Great book, but just never stop learning. There's always something you can get better on.
The GOAT.
Thanks, Haney.
Here he is.
Love my
Nicholas.
Nicholas.
That's one sexy photographer. And
oh my God, I miss that guy.
That sexy picture.
All right, Stelly. What's it for you, dog?
I guess the one thing that I try to tell everybody, because everyone, Jorge has his own unique thing, Jared has his, and then I have mine. Everybody's got their thing. My unique thing was never thinking or seeing myself doing sales ever in my whole entire life, and then coming into it and it changing my life for the better in every aspect. So one thing I just tell everybody, whether it be my friends, family, anyone, just general quality of life. If you find yourself waking up every day and doing something you don't like, if the thought ever crosses your mind, this can't be it. There has to be something better than this out there. There is. Find it, do it, whatever you think. If you have that thought at all, that this can't be it, there's got to be more for me, this can't be what I was meant to do, then you're right. There is something better. And there's one thing I heard, I think it was Tim Tebow that said it. But everyone in their life is going to have pain. That pain is unavoidable. It's better to live with the pain of discipline than the pain of regret. So it's better to suffer through the discipline of getting to where you need to be, grinding, working hard, accomplishing your dreams, than it is to live with the pain of 20, 30, 40 years go by and you look back and all you have is coulda, woulda been. So I wish I'd have done it. So if you ever have the thought there's more for you out there, there is. You just got to go find it. Don't be afraid. That's awesome.
Look at that speechless stuff, man.
I
Getting
love
us
that
teary
shit. That
up
was
over
well
here.
said. I gotta
So,
wipe that
guys,
off.
we're gonna end it here. Thanks for
Jorge,
watching. You guys
or do you have a
watching.
last
Oh,
thing?
sorry.
Jorge,
Jorge not go.
Jorge went. He said hire studs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if that you wanted that as your final remark.
But yeah, getting out of your comfort zone. I remember so many
Yeah.
times, I would ask Gino, hey, Gino, I need help with this, or what do you think I should do? And every single time he'd be like, what do you think you should do? It pissed me off at first, but hey, man, it made me, look for solutions. So
Oh, that's a big tip
Happy
right
to hear
there.
it.
A
Good
big
stuff.
tip. I like that.
big dubs to
Like
G.
that.
Good stuff.
All right.
Appreciate it, big boy.
All right. Over, out. We'll see y'all next week.
You guys got questions? Leave them down below. We'll get back to them. Thanks for coming on, boys. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
See y'all later.
Peace.
Peace.